Good morning, everyone. We will now begin the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama to protect and bless us as we participate today in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer, please stand. Taka ni kamsumarimasu. Kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sumemi oi. Kamuri zanari no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachihana no odo no araki harani misogi harai tamo utoki ni narimaseru harai dono kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kerare o harai kamae kiyome tamai Tomao sukoto no yoshi o amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomo ni ame no uchi koma no mimi burita tete kikoshi meseto kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Kannagara tamachi haemase. Kannagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant and divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive Group Johrei.
May God and Meishu-sama bless you.
Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. Education. Real education teaches people to discern right from wrong. It teaches only the truth. Physical knowledge alone will never suffice. True education deals with spiritual matters. Let us pave the way to higher understanding. In the world today, superficial knowledge is increasing, while true wisdom is becoming more and more scarce. In a parent child relationship abounding in mutual love, the children reflect many of the adults' characteristics through the spiritual courts. For this reason, if people expect their children to be good, they must first be good themselves. If they have not set a proper example admonishing the young ones for bad behavior, will have little or no effect. Teachers especially should realize what an important influence they exert upon the students through the spiritual courts. Founders of religions or orders, priests, and ministers all have an exceedingly strong influence on members or devotees because they are held in such reverence and are looked up to with so much respect. These individuals should be more conscientious than anyone else. The parents are like the trunk of the tree. The boughs are the children, and smaller branches are the grandchildren. Just as no branch is unaffected by the trunk, so it is impossible that the spiritual clouds and spiritual virtues of the parents should fail to influence the offspring.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters. This morning, the faith experience I would like to share with you is from Juliana Mondim dos Santos. She's from the Vicente de Carvalho Johrei Center, Brazil. Juliana has been a Johrei member for 35 years, and she gives service recording and editing faith experiences. In January 2020, she was invited to participate in a 3-day training in the Guarapiranga Sacred Grounds. In the week before that activity, she went through several purifications and thought about giving up, but she remained firm and went with the objective of gaining strength and discernment to deal with everyday situations. She was also looking for spiritual growth for herself and her ancestors, especially for her father, who died 22 years ago, and from whom she still had hurt feelings by an event in the past, which made her very sad. Juliana arrived at the sacred grounds completely in awe. She just watched the people and the beauty of nature. She took the opportunity to reflect, trying to get rid of that feeling for her father, that negative feeling. She went before the altar of the ancestors, said a prayer, and materialized her gratitude. On the second day, the training participants were assigned specific tasks. She dedicated asking God that her ancestors receive the light while she was serving. In the afternoon, she participated in 2 workshops, home gardening and art and beauty. While joining the flower arranging workshop, music in the background reminded her of the waltz she danced with her father on her 15th birthday. She remembered the countless times they dedicated together during the construction of the sacred grounds. She realized how self centered she was being for remembering only the negative side of a situation and experience, not valuing the many good and happy moments next to her. She returned from the sacred grounds much lighter and free from any resentment. Juliana is very grateful to God and Meishu-sama for allowing her to reconcile with her father and to contribute to the spiritual elevation of her ancestors through sincere service to the divine work. And another experience I would like to share is from Liliana Sofia Reis Jacinto Coelho. She's from the Lisbon Johrei Center, Portugal. In her previous job, Liliana understood right from the start that her job didn't fit the functions described in her interview. Being more administrative tasks, she learned them quickly and felt stagnant. In addition, the work environment was unhealthy, where a lot of gossip and conflicts between co-workers and managers were regularly created. However, she remained grateful to God and Meishu-sama because she was sure that her mission was to be in that job and learn from it, both personally and professionally. And it was with this sonne that she got up every day and went to work. Through a member's faith experience from London, published in a church newsletter, she awakened to the importance of being aware that every person in her workplace has a divine essence and that every situation has its mission. Before, she separated what happened at work from her spiritual practices. When she felt that it no longer made sense to keep that job, she analyzed with what feeling she did her tests and with what feeling she wanted to change jobs. She was aware that if she was going to change, it had to be for the right reasons, and not just because she was fed up with her tasks, the conflicts, and the negative environment. Thus, she started by making a list with all the reasons why she thought she should change jobs. She made another list with what she was grateful for in that job, and a last list with what she was looking for, whether professionally, materially, and spiritually, in a new job. After these listings were made, she prayed to Meishu-sama and explained her reasons for wanting to leave, expressing her gratitude with a donation for the job she had and for all the topics listed. In that job, she learned a lot about team management, business management, human behavior. She made friends, and it was possible for her to rise to a better level of remuneration. Thus, it would not make sense on her part not to be grateful for the job, which she wanted to leave, and that had brought her many good things. In Ikebana Sengetsu classes she took, the participants received guidance on how to carry out small tasks. In the next class, they shared personal experiences, which always taught Liliana something new that she could put into practice. So she created the sonne to participate in a pilgrimage to the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga for the first time. In preparation, she performed several practices. She made double daily donations, channeled Johrei at home every day to her companion, who is not a member, and read a total of 30 minutes a day of the teachings of God as revealed to Meishu-sama. During the train journey to work, she read through a book application on her smartphone, and at night, she read the volume 1 of the teachings of Meishu-sama. She made the commitment to attending monthly and ancestor services and made an effort not to forget any memorial services requests from the enshrinement of her ancestors. In addition to monthly practice of tithing, she made two special donations before going to the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga. There were days when conflicts were very complicated between her co-workers. They sometimes got along well on a day-to-day basis, but all of a sudden, they would almost engage into physical confrontations. On those days, she did Ikeban at home or some dedication with the sonne that the ancestors connected to that conflict be purified and saved. Thereafter, the atmosphere was completely different in the following days. Several times she felt a lot of frustration when she got home after a day of work, having already gone to job interviews and not being called to continue the recruiting process. But she thought, Meishu-sama is preparing the best offer for when I'm ready. So I will continue doing my best to deserve such blessing. Days before going to this Grada sacred grounds, she went to an interview that she really enjoyed because it fulfilled all the points on the list of what she was looking for in a new job. She told the recruiter that she was going to be in Brazil in the following weeks, but that she would be reachable. Her dedications, efforts, and preparations were important, so that at that moment she didn't feel anxious because she could be called for a second interview and not be in Portugal. She kept calm and handed everything over to God and Meishu-sama. She would have the blessing of being Guarapiranga, and she wouldn't worry about anything else. Halfway through the pilgrimage, when they were visiting our church headquarters of Brazil in São Paulo, she received a call from the company she applied to talk a little more about a concrete proposal. Two proposals were presented to her that fit her profile perfectly, and she was sure that in 15 days she would be called for the final interview already in Lisbon. She gave thanks at the time and later in prayer on the sacred grounds and continued committed to experiencing the pilgrimage to the fullest, dedicating with song of becoming ever more an instrument of God together with her ancestors. Back in Lisbon, she went to the final interview and had confirmation that she was hired. She was so happy. The team she's part of is a team without conflicts in which there is a spirit of mutual help and where she feels good about her assignments. Throughout her life, hoping without despairing has always been a challenge. Not that she wanted everything fast and for yesterday, but she had a tendency to demoralize and discredit herself, to think that maybe she wasn't good enough professionally. She learned that it is a path to growth and that everything has to the right time to happen. With the various practices performed daily, it's much easier to be aware that God is with us at all times and that all people have a divine essence. She had the confirmation that we have to wait for the right time for everything, and we cannot put our egos ahead of the divine will. Life does not stop while we wait for the right time, but waiting becomes easier if it is with the dedication in the church as we grow, learn, and remain at peace with ourselves and with others. Liliana also learned that the more we practice and engage in the basic practices of our faith, the more we feel the difference in our professional and personal lives. We feel more guided, more focused, and see miracles manifest. She expressed gratitude for this blessing with another special donation and dedication to the church. She made the commitment to remain committed to Ikebana classes, increase her knowledge, and practice nature farming and talk about Meishu-sama to more people. She wants to continue to grow as a member because she knows that we only grow when we dedicate doing our very best to the divine work. Thank you very much for listening to these experiences. Wish you a very wonderful day. Thank you very much.
This brings to a conclusion of our morning service. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a blessed day.